Hey guys, welcome back to the Marking Out Network. I'm Neal Pretty Boy Thomas here with
your boy Cordell, aka Smoke.
What's going on? It's your favorite Dean Walker.
How you guys doing today?
I'm doing good, man.
Good.
What about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Did you guys like so we're going to talk about Night of Champions. There's a lot to get to. We're going to run down every single match. I know you guys are probably going to watch this later on tonight, maybe even tomorrow. I like pay-per-views in the daytime because I don't want to have to talk about this shit at 11 to 12 o'clock at fucking night. What about you guys? I don't like doing that.
Especially when you gotta be up at work in the morning you gotta be at work at 7 a.m. This is not where I want to be at 12 o'clock.
Do you guys like the Saudi crowd? What do you guys think about? Let's get the whole
they're
vibe
hype.
of the crowd. Do you guys like the PLEs over there?
They're hype, and I feel like a lot of them, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's almost like weird scenarios, like things you'll never see because they want to give them all that they have. You know what I'm saying? Like we see matches that we don't think we would see.
It's almost like not canon.
Okay. No, I totally agree. They haven't been canon for a while, but I think because of tonight's events and because they actually coincide with the regular storylines, obviously with the Bloodline and Asuka that we're going to talk about, it does make sense that this is actually canon and it's going forward because it impacts the shows after this one. It's going to impact Raw. It's going to impact SmackDown. So obviously this one is going to be canon, but the previous ones, this was like a throwaway PLE, even though the crowd was hype.
I feel like the last 2 years, they weren't, the last 2 years they have been canon, but prior to that, they were nothing. It had nothing to do with the storyline.
Yeah.
Obviously. So the first match we're going to talk about is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I got a lot to say. I'm sure you guys got a lot to say about this too. Seth freaking Rollins versus the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Smoke, what did you think about Seth Rollins' gear coming out?
You remember in the movie Fifth Element?
I do. That's where he got it from.
Is that where he got it from?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain.
From Chris Rock's character?
Chris Tucker
character. Yeah.
Now I remember.
He really?
That's the only similarity that I could think of.
Doesn't make it funny no more because now that's what he was actually going for.
I mean, it's pretty much identical of what Chris Tucker was wearing in the movie. Yeah. I didn't point that out. Somebody on Twitter pointed it out, and I was like, oh, that's it. So, all right, Smoke, what do you actually think about the match itself? And then, Dean, I want your thoughts, and then I'm going to give my 2 cents as usual.
I thought it was a good match. Rollins winning has caught me by surprise.
Really? Why? He was the heavy favorite.
Well, yeah. I'm only going to say it caught me by surprise because I honestly thought that Rollins was going off into Hollywood. Well, he is in Hollywood. And I thought that he was going to I thought AJ Styles was actually going to take it only because I thought Rollins was going to take some time off. But I guess I was proven wrong tonight. I guess they figured you're going to be in a new Marvel movie. I'm not sure what role yet, but you're going to be in a new Marvel movie, so why not have the title on you?
Yeah, he's one of the villains in the movie.
On Wednesday night, on my solo episode, I kind of predicted, I was like, I think Rollins is going to take it, right? Because I found it odd timing that his movie role was kind of like shown around the time being. So maybe it threw off people, kind of like it threw you off. Mm-hmm. And I think it worked for some people. I knew Rollins was going to take it. It just made sense, right? But other than that, the match was solid. The gear was good. And of course, I don't think Styles and Rollins would ever disappoint. So it was good.
I think Seth Rollins being the World Heavyweight Champion was the right choice. I think it did throw everybody off. And I think people were saying, oh, because he's going to take time off for a movie. I think that was just all a rouge. I think it never really played into a factor because if you think about it, they want to build up a World Heavyweight Champion that's not. It's not that AJ Styles hasn't paid his dues, but I think because Seth Rollins has been a staple on Monday Night Raw for such a long time, he's a good anchor to hold that World Heavyweight Championship down. And I got to say this too. All right, this World Heavyweight title is supposed to be a big deal, right? Why did it kick off the show then?
Yeah, right. You would think it's the main event besides the whole Uso, Bloodline thing, but yeah, no, I found that kind of weird, man.
It's like they went out of their way to show this pay-per-view to show that this was a this was secondary, or even, I hate to say it, third to Roman's title.
It's funny you mentioned that too, and I wanted to touch on that in the main event, but since you brought it up, I'll talk about it now. So Michael Cole in the broadcast said that if Roman Reigns wins the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles, he'll be the first guy in history to hold 4 different titles at once, which means the WWE title, the Universal title, the Raw and SmackDown titles are treated as individual championships, which in my point being is that the World Heavyweight title, you can make the case, is the 4th most important. Why is that the 4th most important? Because Gunther's been Intercontinental Champion for a year. You could say his title is more relevant than a title that they just created. So to emphasize a point of being the World Heavyweight Champion, they did not do a good job about that at all, to me, because you went on first and it was like, oh, Seth Rollins, he has to travel. All right. That ain't our fucking problem, whether he has to go or not. We're talking about a title that's supposed to mean something. And the fact that he went on first, I granted Seth Rollins and AJ Styles are going to put on a good quality match. We all know that. They've been around for a million fucking years. They're not going to disappoint, Dean, like you said. But to emphasize the importance of a World Heavyweight Championship match, when Michael Cole said it himself that the WWE Undisputed titles are completely separate because Roman would have 4 championships, that means the WWE and the Universal title can be defended separately, even though they're not anymore. So it's really like a 3rd place belt. We are treating it like a 2nd place belt. It's the 3rd place belt now, or even 4th place belt if you compare it to Gunther. So how are we supposed to take this seriously? It's like, yeah, it's good to see Seth Rollins get some gold, but not in this way.
I think now it's going to depend on the champion to make it, to put that belt in.
Obviously, it's going to be on the champion. You want to put the.
I think it's going to be on the champion to make it, to bring it to the proper light and the proper importance to the belt. You know what I always say about the opportunity, is what you do with the opportunity. And I mean, they gave it to the right guy to bring relevancy to that title. So I think Seth Rollins is going to have to be putting in a lot of work the next few months and showcasing why that title is just as important. I mean, yeah, it's shiny and new, but that's not enough to make it an important title.
Yeah. I think the match itself was that good. Did you guys enjoy the actual match itself?
It was good.
It was all right. It was good.
It did what it had to do.
It did what it had to do. It wasn't anything that I was like, oh, wow about.
Yeah, nothing shitty stood out. You know what I mean? It was solid. It was good. I was entertained.
Sorry.
No, I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying, like, no botches. You know,
right. I never know anything with you, man. You be saying some wild stuff.
No. Nothing bad happened. Nobody got hurt. There was no bad storytelling in the match. I think it was solid. I mean, it did what it did. I just hope from here on out, seeing as how the first world title match is already the first, of the show. I'm hoping they actually make it a main event title. You know what I'm saying? Not an opener, not this or that. I'm hoping it's treated as a main event title, but it's tough.
No, it's not going to be, because if Roman's going to remain champion, he's going to main event every single time. There's no getting around that now.
And the person who goes before Roman, it's always usually the higher women's title. You know what I'm saying? So this one's always going to be close to the opener. And it's not going to be second, so it's going to be first.
It's going to be you're right. It's going to be an opening World Heavyweight Championship match at like SummerSlam. What's going to be Seth Rollins is going to defend it at SummerSlam against whomever in the first opening match. Unless they have him go on second to last against Roman. But I mean, again, it's still playing second fiddle. It's not the World Heavyweight Champion. Until that World Heavyweight Championship main events over Roman, it's a secondary or third or fourth title, because it's never going to reach that upper echelon. I mean, it might take a really long time, but it's never going to get there at this rate. I don't like the title to begin with.
The world title has ever been main event more than the WWE?
I think it has. Like,
right? It has.
It has. Sometimes I feel like the World Heavyweight title, especially like when it was that hard brand split, when you had Undertaker, Batista, and those guys have the World Heavyweight Championship, you felt like that was the title.
Yeah.
Right? I think that was the championship.
When Cena changed it to the spinner title, the world title felt like it was the main, right?
When JBL was WWE champion, did you think he was the guy?
I mean, he did good, but he wasn't the guy.
He wasn't the main guy. He was never the draw. Whoever was on Raw was the draw. and
But
the
I
world
still feel
heavyweight
like
champion at the
I
time.
still feel like he was the guy on SmackDown.
Yeah.
He did great, but who was the world champ on Raw at the time? Do you remember?
You talking about 04, 05? That was like Triple H and Batista.
Triple H.
Yeah.
They were gonna main event. I don't have the numbers, and I'm sure people can correct this, but I'm pretty certain if you're gonna have a Batista Triple H world heavyweight title match and Undertaker thrown in the mix, 07, whatever it was when he was doing it, Edge, that was gonna supersede the WWE championship, especially around that 05, 04, 05 era. I would imagine so. Like, to me, JBL was never main event over anybody. He did a good job for a year on SmackDown, but that world heavyweight title, to me, because that was the A show at the time, so the main champion was always on the A show, especially it was on Monday Night Raw. It was, especially in that time. So
Yeah.
It's
that's what I
weird.
think.
Now we're living in the time where the main title's on SmackDown. SmackDown's been doing better just overall with the ratings. Everything's been great on SmackDown. Raw has been tough to watch.
Honestly, I was telling Neal I tell Neal all the time, I would remove an hour from Raw and add an hour to SmackDown.
That would be great.
You want 3 hours of SmackDown?
They'd still get the advertisement.
They're the only ones that showcasing anything right now. Raw has lost its edge.
I cannot sit through 3 hours of fucking SmackDown either.
Well, I can barely sit through an hour of Raw, so it's like somebody needs to figure it out.
Yeah. But if you think about it, they're not going to lose advertisement. They're still going to have it.
They're still going to got it.
Because it's going to.
They will never cut wrestling. WWE never cut. They'll always add.
Yeah.
They'll never cut anything down. Ever.
Weren't those 3-hour specials fun back in the day? Do you remember that? They'd have the 3-hour Raw, and we'd be like, "Oh shit, what's going down?"
It was. You thought it was like not thought it was a special episode.
How did you feel? I know we're not there yet, but it's irking me to bring this up. How did you feel about the squash match between Ripley and Natalya? Can we talk about that right now?
You want to talk about that now?
I want to talk about that right now. Are you good? Talking about it right now?
Yeah,
Dude, I want
you to ask yourself this: when has he ever wanted to talk about Natalya?
Never. Not one time. Not ever. Not one time.
I'm not hating. I'm not saying that. I'm not berating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not any of the ings. Okay. But she deserved to lose in 90 seconds.
Oh, of course, without a doubt.
Match right now. Why? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I completely agree. There's no other way that match should have went down. I don't want to see a 10-minute, a 15-minute back and forth with Rhea Ripley. Natalya's not even on her level right now. And the fact that she would even challenge her to a title match in Saudi Arabia is ludicrous. It's comical. It's funny. It's a joke.
I think to be honest with you, I think it was. I want to say that they gave her the match out of respect for her, and
it was a complete waste of time.
But in 90 seconds,
I'm just gonna go sleep right here.
In 90 seconds, I don't think that they. I know every wrestler has to pay their dues. Every wrestler has to take some type of, has some match or stipulation that they don't agree with. But 90 seconds, you don't think shit of me, huh?
We're talking about a Hall of Famer here, despite what you think about her, right?
Yeah.
This is a Hall of Famer.
Let's not get it twisted. The woman is one of the best wrestlers out there. She's one of the best wrestlers out there. She may not be your cup of tea or your favorite to look at, but she is one of the best wrestlers out there, and she has a great family lineage. So it's like, I'm not really seeing, like, I'm not sure what the disconnect is, but for Natalya, it just it ain't hitting.
Storyline. She should lose in 30 seconds. I think Ripley was playing with her on the outside. She didn't have to.
Yeah, Rhea was like playing with her food.
Yeah. And even though that she was making the match last, it only lasted a minute and a half.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
What's up?
Go ahead.
Rhea Ripley's reign is boring.
It just started though.
It's starting off boring. She's not even on the right brand.
It's a little Dominic heavy.
Well, she's on the right brand. The title isn't.
The title isn't even on the right brand. No, she's not. No, she's the champ for this specific title. That means she's not.
No, but she got drafted. She's on the right show. The title that went with her. That's not.
Yeah.
She didn't just go from one show because she wanted to. She was literally drafted. It's the championship that they haven't swapped apparently. And what I know we're getting off topic here, but somebody mentioned this too. Why was it good enough for Becky and Charlotte to swap, but it's not good enough for it was Bianca and Rhea to swap titles.
Well, maybe
Can they explain that?
Well, maybe because it was very controversial last time that happened. That's probably
So
what
you think they're
I mean,
waiting
but
for the
then
right
again,
moment?
you also have to understand too, we also aren't dealing with the same two women. Bianca and Rhea are not Becky and Charlotte. Clearly, there was bad blood between those two. That isn't bad blood between these two. All they gotta do, they don't even have to do it on camera. All you gotta do is just switch the titles and call it a fucking day.
I did
Yeah.
hate the title switch last time, but I also hate that they're doing it this time, you know, to where they're keeping
Yeah.
it separate. So I hate it either way, to be honest. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to complain.
We're gonna complain regardless because we didn't like
Yeah.
the way they did it before,
But
and
isn't it
I think this is more annoying now because they don't address it. They don't even tell us what the deal is.
I also
Yeah.
think that it's highly annoying that you have Rhea Ripley win the SmackDown title against the opponent, Charlotte Flair, and for SmackDown, and then you just draft her quick as heck. It makes it seem like her whole moment was for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without a doubt. No,
It's
that makes sense.
And then
That makes sense.
and I'll go back to another moment that I felt like was for nothing. When we get to the other women's championship match tonight.
All right,
we'll get there.
We'll talk about that. So the next match, of course, I was looking forward to it. I don't know if you guys were looking forward to it. So Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch, just straight up match, no titles on the line. I'm a huge Trish Stratus fan up until a certain point, right? I'm not a big Becky Lynch fan. I appreciate what she's done. I'm not necessarily.
We've never spoke about this before. You're not a Becky Lynch. You're not a Becky Lynch fan. You never said you weren't a fan.
I'm not.
I mean, I know you're a little clouded by Merce, but
yeah. So it's not that I don't appreciate Becky Lynch. I'm just not. I don't get gung ho like other people do for her when she comes out. I did appreciate the man. I did appreciate what she did in elevating her career and being the number one.
I appreciate big
wrestler in WWE at the time. I appreciate that, but the big time Bex thing, I wasn't digging that. Her coming out in all these different wardrobes and people really feeling it. I just was not digging it, man. I wasn't feeling that.
To me,
and I like her now a little more.
I liked her.
She's more relatable now to me.
The man was it got boring. It got stale after a while. Big time Bex was kind of fun.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I like the 80s.
Big Time Bex was kind of fun. I like the different attires, the 80s inspired. Yeah. Her coming out with her fur coat.
She's like an 80s rocker who would kick your ass backstage. You know
she kind of had like a I'm on coke kind of thing.
Yeah.
It matched with Rollins. I mean, they were both going crazy.
They both were. And like I didn't mind it, but like you said, Becky isn't necessarily, she's done a lot for WWE and women in the women's division, and I can see that she's having fun doing just plain matches. When I say plain, I mean non-title picture matches, and I think that's what she wants to do. She wants to be a wrestler for the sake of it, not just for always in the title picture, which you don't need to be always in the title picture to have good matches or have a great career, in my opinion. This match. Well, I'll let you go since this was your favorite of the night.
So I think Trish Stratus did extremely well in the match. I think because of her conditioning, people were questioning. A lot of people were saying, like, Becky even called her on it too, saying that this women's era, this women's division has passed you up. And so Trish obviously has something to prove. A lot of people weren't digging this, man. This whole feud between Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. I kind of liked it. People don't necessarily like a heel Trish Stratus because it feels forced, especially this time around. It felt like maybe she wasn't putting too much effort into it, and Becky was maybe not doing the majority of the feud, not carrying the majority of it, but it just felt like there was missing something, like the feud was shallow and lost, and Becky went away for him a long time. But I just think the match itself, Trish coming back, she looked fucking great, by the way, man, in this match. Was it slower? Yes, but I think both of them did extremely well for what it was and actually went on for a decent amount of time. I don't got the match time on this one, but I like the back and forth between these two. Was the chemistry necessarily there? Was it a dream match for me? No, because the dream match is sitting somewhere else with Trish and Mercedes. But to me, this is not a dream match. This wasn't on my bucket list of all time. Oh, these two need to hook up. It's not, because I've never been Team Becky in that regard. But I think for what it was and what it could have been, it was the best that it was and should have been. And I think we're going to see another match because of the Zoe Stark interference at the end. And we got to talk about her too, because I'm excited for her.
Yeah. How do you feel about Zoe Stark entered? Is that too random for you? Or
No,
is
I
it...
like it a lot. I think Zoe Stark's, she's on the rise. Obviously, she's not going to be a face. She's going to be a heel. She's going to get some of that Trish Stratus rub. And having maybe Trish by her side, that's going to elevate her instantly. Everybody's going to know who Zoe Stark is. I think that's great. That's going to be fantastic. And the fact
I kind of wondered if Trish was going to go back home for a little while and have Zoe Starks fight for her in her honor, because I don't know if Trish is actually back like full time or not. I'm not sure what her agreement is, but
Neal, do you know?
I really don't know. It seems like Trish is, I don't know if she's going to be there week in and week out, but she's like, back full time as far as this storyline go, because obviously the Trish Becky Lynch thing, I think we're going to see this the whole summer now, because Becky's going to come back on on Monday Night Raw and saying like, hey Trish, you're still not as good as me. You didn't prove anything because you had your little helper, Zoe Stark, come in and do the job that you couldn't via interference. So that's going to lead up to a second match, which probably going to happen at Money in the Bank, which is going to kind of eliminate Becky Lynch from the Money in Bank picture. But up until this point, I think we're going to see after this, we're going to see Becky Lynch and probably Zoe Stark lock up. And that instantly Zoe Stark's stock's in a rise.
I don't see, because I think that's the plan. Because I don't see Trish really sticking around too long. But it's been great having her back. She actually, it's funny because I think her gear tonight was inspired by one of her matches with Lita, if I'm not mistaken. The black and pink. It was inspired. Was it that main event Raw they did?
I believe so. When Trish was wearing the mask. Trish wore that a couple times. It was the all black with the pink stripe on the side. Yeah, that was definitely inspired by it. Yeah,
that gear was inspired by that one. Except it was more like in a Saudi.
I mean, I think for women, the way they have to dress for over there, the one who did it best is Becky. The race car driver vibe. I think it looked dope.
I disagree. I don't think she did it the best. She did it good, but somebody did it better. But we're going to talk about her later.
You talking about tonight?
Yeah.
That's not a race car.
That looked like a race car driver.
It was Kill Bill.
But it had like patches on it, right?
Yeah, it was the race car.
It had like patches on it.
I think it was Kill Bill colors, you're right. But no. It was
Kill Bill, like the yellow color, but it felt like it was more NASCAR. It was like patches on it. All right, so overall, what do you guys think? Trish, Becky, you guys like this feud going forward? You want to see more of it? Or you think that one match is going to be enough? Or what do you want from this?
I feel like now it needs to shift. Now it needs to shift to, I don't know what role Trish will play, but now it needs to kind of shift to Zoe and Becky.
So like Trish is gonna like start bringing up the younger talent, right?
No, but bringing up the younger talent. So is Becky.
Did Becky bust her nose? Is she good?
She did. So it looked like when Zoe hit her finisher, what's it? These Z360. I think that's her finisher, but she never really connects with the knee on the face. It's always like in the neck area, the chest area, or somewhere around. Yeah, but I think it was the Stratisfaction. I think Becky just ate that fucking mat.
Yeah.
And that's when it happened, because before that point, you didn't see any blood from Becky Lynch. I only watched Night of Champions one time, and I think it happened during the Stratisfaction. So I think Becky sold it a little too much when she ate that fucking mat. Her face was a bloody fucking mess. She posted it on like all the social medias, like just blood wiped all over her.
Looks like blood saves her yet again.
It worked because she got screwed over in the match and a busted face. So it's like it worked. It looked pretty good.
And Trish and Zoe are going to be trolling Becky. They're going to be trolling her on that. Round one goes to Trish Stratus.
Just play along.
Yeah. Just don't put that Becky Lynch picture of her bloody face on a t-shirt.
I was actually going to say I'd put her face on a t-shirt and wear it. That's really funny.
And then, I mean, it was done by a woman, so.
It was.
Yeah, because we all know what happened with that Britt Baker t-shirt, which I have, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that.
Shit. Yeah.
We know.
Should have wore it today.
I think you wore it once for the podcast.
Yeah,
right?
but
no, I haven't wore it yet.
I'm going to say you just had to wear pink when you know that's my thing, but carry on.
I didn't know you own a color.
I do.
Are you Kiera Hogan all of a sudden?
I do on this podcast.
Are you Kiera Hogan?
I like what you did there. Yeah.
I don't think
Gotcha.
you want to be any Hogan. You
Yeah,
don't like it. You
I don't
like
want to be
Hogan.
I don't want to be any Hogan.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Kiera Hogan's nice.
We got to keep up your you and Hogan beef, you know.
Yeah.
Mm,
All right. So the next match, which was everybody thought was gonna be a glorified squash match, and it kind of was Ali versus Gunther for
Ali
the
held his
Intercontinental
own.
Championship.
Ali
Hey,
held his own.
He held his own. He did
held his
good.
own.
I think the match did what it had to do. We knew Ali wasn't going to go in and win, but the fact that, Gunther worked with him, showcased him a lot. I think he came out looking strong as hell too. He did good, man.
I mean, I wouldn't say it helped his career, but it definitely he benefited from this match tonight. And I can't wait to see how, but
it's not going to do a goddamn thing for him.
I'm trying to be hopeful here.
Maybe less squashes.
Maybe less squashes. I think maybe they should.
Why does WWE do this? Why couldn't they put a actual guy that can challenge Gunther for the title instead of this Mr. Positivity that is going to get wiped?
I think it's the area they're in. They're trying to. I don't know what background exactly he is, but I know he came out. He had the head thing on. I forgot. Yeah.
Good job.
That's good for him for going out there and getting squashed. But as a fan watching wrestling, I want to see competitive matches.
Yeah. I mean, they had to pay tribute to him too because of his culture.
I thought it was Sabu at first. I was like, oh shit, but we just saw him.
Sabu.
So
Sabu's my guy. I love Sabu. So I got a couple things I want to say about this match. So we had essentially it's a elongated squash match. That's what it was. Even the announcers were kind of bearing out Lee a little bit. Corey Graves was like, he's kind of got a chance, but miracles have happened before. And Michael Cole's like, no, you got no chance, bro. You got no chance. You got like a puncher's chance. You got maybe Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson kind of chance when everybody, granted Buster Douglas ended up winning the match, but the amount of heavy favorite that Tyson was in that match is like the biggest in history. And I think Gunther going against an opponent like Ali, who's a good wrestler, doesn't do anything for me personally, doesn't have any really character I can latch onto, doesn't mean he's bad, but to go against Gunther in an Intercontinental Championship match on a big stage like this, to me, it's going to be a wrap. I can't fathom a match like this. I just don't really see any point of it. So basically, we had two squash matches on a pay-per-view that should be able to deliver banger after banger after banger after banger. And now, where do you guys think that Gunther ranks on the all-time Intercontinental Championship list? Is he moving up? Where's he going from here?
You guys think top 5, top 10?
I feel like he hasn't done enough yet to be top 10.
I would say top 10 for sure.
I mean top 5, sorry.
Top 5 is tough. Yeah, you got some good ones.
He hasn't done enough to do top 5.
What if he breaks Honky Tonk Man's record? And then where do you think that's going to put him?
I just need to see the body of work to match.
Yeah, because I can see this being a historical run. I feel like he's only, partial of the way there. You know what I'm saying? He's been champ for a while, but that guy holds titles for Roman lengths. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, no, but I was going to bring up, I know you're going to hate me for this. The way I saw Mustafa Ali running around the ring, I was thinking, man, what would be a good match? Maybe Gunther, Logan Paul.
That's actually interesting to talk about because it's completely two different styles. Weird. I mean, I think Gunther would
how would that chemistry even work?
The only reason
he would put Logan Paul through the mat.
Roman and Logan had a great match in my opinion. I feel like Gunther and Logan would have an actual pretty fun match, man. And the way that he was carrying Mustafa in it, I can kind of see the way he would carry Logan too.
Okay.
Just a random thought.
I think there's probably, I see where you're going with this though too, but I think with Roman, he's different than Gunther. Gunther doesn't posture. He doesn't do a lot of jawing. He doesn't have a lot of, he's a formidable like force, but he doesn't like showboat a lot. And I think the match wouldn't be as great as the one between Roman and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
He's like, Gunther's very old school in this approach. Like, he'll chop you to death, and I don't think it would be exciting. Logan Paul would have to speed up the match tremendously. And I think eventually him flying around the top ropes, Gunther's just going to chop them pieces and then just squash that shit.
The whole chopping thing, I think that might actually work in Logan's favor because I feel like some of the hardcores, they're going to love to see Logan get chopped to bits, right? But I feel like some of them might actually be like, man, I kind of respect Logan for doing this type of match even more. You know what I'm saying? Or at least they going from 0 to 5%.
I mean, how many times do we got does he have to earn his respect from us though? I mean,
it takes a while for some fans, man. They're tough.
I'd rather see Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny.
You'd rather see what?
Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny.
Oh, that would be a nice little match.
Yeah, I don't want to see Logan Paul versus Gunther because I think Gunther would just fucking destroy him, but that's me. Maybe it'd be highly entertaining. They'll do that thing where it's just like he's got Logan Paul has that puncher's chance or that steel plate in his fist or something like that. And maybe he can knock him out. They built that shit up with Roman Reigns, but I do not see Logan Paul actually putting up a decent fight. I just don't.
Right.
All right, so we got the big championship match next. Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship match.
Congratulations to Bianca Belair for to me a great title run that started off as a great title run that kind of started fizzling out towards the end. But congratulations for a great title run. I personally was excited to see African-American woman wrestler as champion for so long. I mean, it's about damn time. It took about 35 decades to get here, and she held it for quite some time. I believe she surpassed Becky Lynch, right?
She did, yes.
She's the longest
reigning
right now.
420 days.
420 days. Yeah. And so congratulations to Bianca. But with that being said, Bianca being a champ for 420 days and then losing it in the manner that she did tonight, it didn't do it for me. Was I ready for her to lose it? Yeah, I was ready. It was time. It was time to move on.
You were saying this for a while now. You're like, you're good with Io Sky, right?
I was good with Io Sky taking that title. I was good with Io
Sky. So
you
were already mentally there. You were there for it.
I was already mentally. I think all of us, even her own fans, were already. I feel like it did what it needed to do. This title reign for her did what it needed to do. It raised her stock. She became like a household name. I think this title reign made Bianca Belair a superstar. And I'm talking about commercials, TV appearances.
She's everywhere.
She's everywhere. She's doing what the wrestlers in the 90s were doing back then. That's why people who don't even watch wrestling still say, "Oh yeah, is Undertaker still there?" Yeah. And it's like, no. Yeah. And it's like, so Bianca Belair is putting in that work and doing that. And I'm really proud of what this title reign has done for her. And it did its job. It did what it needed to do. And she can only go up from here, in my opinion. But I prepared myself for this. All her fans have prepared it for it. I'm ready for that next chapter for her. Whether even if she takes a vacation after this and comes back, or if she decides to do other projects or turns heel, what a lot of people have been wanting from her. I just want to see something different. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the title picture because she held it for so long. She don't have to be in the title picture, and honestly, for probably another year. But in my opinion, to lose this way was not my favorite pick of losing it. I don't, and it's not the opponent. Neal, I love me some Asuka, man. I love Asuka. I think Asuka is probably one of the most decorated superstars out there. I think I want Asuka to win in life. But I just didn't want her to win this way. And when I made my point earlier about me saying, it was no point in having Rhea win the SmackDown Women's title from Charlotte just to be drafted 2 weeks later onto Raw. It kind of defeated the purpose of her winning at Mania. I will say this again: Bianca probably should have lost at Mania, and I get it. They wanted to see her make it to a 420 days. Great, I get that too, but she was already doing all these appearances. It already did what it needed to do. She was already a great fighting champion, but they should have just had Asuka win at WrestleMania. This makes no sense.
You could have had the same finish with Asuka doing what she did with spitting the mist in her hand and rubbing it in Bianca's face at WrestleMania. You could have the exact same finish, but I think they wanted. It seems like WWE, that people mentioned they want to update their books. They want to update their title reigns. they want to update all these records. So they're giving the now guys, the now women, the now superstars elongated title reigns so they can just update it because they don't want to have to refer to Hogan being the champion for 1,400 days for another 30 fucking years. They don't. So they want to have the guys now break the record, and that's why. So Bianca broke the record. Roman's gonna have a really long title reign, and you know for certain Gunther's gonna have a long title reign to stop bringing up fucking Honky Tonk Man from 1987 to 1988. So you know he's gonna break the record, so they can just have a fresh set of people break these records.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Dean, what'd you think of the actual match? Because I know it was a snooze fest for the WrestleMania match between Bianca and Asuka. People weren't really digging it. Me, you, Smoke, the chemistry's not there. I was saying this before. Round 2 needed to be a lot better. What'd you think of the match?
It felt almost the same to me, honestly.
These two just ain't got it.
It just it was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just didn't. I wasn't excited. I wasn't on the edge of my seat.
Why do you think that is, though? If you have a talent like Bianca Belair and Asuka, Asuka's one of the all-time greats, Bianca's on her way. Why doesn't it gel and click like you think it would? How come they're not Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels? Why aren't they Trish and Lita? Why isn't that?
These two just don't have it, unfortunately. I'm not sure why, because I thought Asuka had chemistry with everybody. And I thought Bianca could have chemistry with anybody. But for some reason, when it comes to these two, they just don't click. Like honestly, remember when they announced her? I mean, when she won the when Asuka was named as her opponent for WrestleMania, I said this then. They need to make that a triple threat and add somebody else in there to add something to it because them two just ain't got it. And I was right. And then they tried it again, and I was right again. And honestly, I was kind of hoping that Io Sky was going to be added to something with this feud and have them three just go at it. And then, and even when at Mania, I was kind of, and as much as she's not my favorite wrestler, I was kind of hoping Alexa Bliss was going to be added or something to that, only because it just helps with the dynamic and the storytelling. They had no storytelling leading up to Mania. Nothing, no build, no nothing. And
Bill was terrible. We trashed it every single week on the fucking podcast. It was terrible.
And then now leading up to this one, it was still lazy buildup, and it was just like it just served no purpose. So to me, I don't know. It's like for some reason I don't think WWE sees it for them either.
Yeah.
I think the match was the mist.
Yep.
With the fingers and how she grabbed the eyes. It was different.
It was a different finish, which I liked because she went for the miss the first time. Bianca ducked. You're like, oh, that's it. She shot her shot. That's how she's going to win this match. And you think the predictable way was, oh, Bianca's going to avoid the miss and then counter with the KOD. She did exactly that. But Asuka had two of those. I think they're pills or packs or whatever. I don't even know what she puts in her mouth. And she spit it on her hand. And somebody mentioned that's like the Great Muta thing. Did he do that?
Yeah, they said it on commentary. I guess it was call back to him. Yeah.
So I thought the finish itself was extremely clever. Yeah. It didn't come off cheesy and kind of lame and tacky and all that kind of stuff. So I think the finish was actually really good because I didn't see Asuka winning this match at all. I thought Bianca was a shoe-in. It was going to be the second match. Hopefully not any more matches come of this because I don't think they just gel in the ring. But Bianca was a shoe, and that was my prediction, Bianca retaining. And like I said before on the podcast, as you all guys know, Bianca was going to lose at SummerSlam, not in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. I never saw that coming at all. And that was really surprising to me because I love Asuka and I love Bianca, but I did not see a title change at all.
I kind of want to ask, like, what's next for these two ladies? Like, what do you think? First off, one, are we actually going to, now that we have a new champion, are we actually going to get the title changes onto the right show like they need to be? One. Two, what's next for, who's feuding with Asuka next? And three, what's next for Bianca Belair? Personally, I think Bianca might take some time off. I could be wrong, but I think she might. She
deserves it.
She deserves
it. She was champ for a long time. I think she's carried the company, like the women's division, on her back. Her and Rhea. So you got to think, like, just give her a month off, get her refreshed, because you could see where the tide is shifting. Oh, by the way, the Saudi crowd for this match, you guys fucking suck because you guys were dead during this match. It was nobody gave a shit. Like
Bianca Belair.
so first of all, Asuka comes out. They're booing Asuka. Bianca comes out. They're semi cheering Bianca, but then during the course of the match, it got really quiet. Everybody was sitting on their hands, and then they started semi cheering Asuka and booing Bianca. I'm like, you guys are so fucking weird. What happened? Like usually Saudi, they cheer the heel or cheer the faces, boo the heels, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why they weren't digging this match at all. It wasn't gelling, and you could tell from the crowd. I even said it too. Like if you weren't actually watching the match and just listening to what was going on, you think the match was like fucking Dana Brooke versus Natalia at main event or something. It wasn't a good match at all, but it actually was a fairly decent, and I think it was a better match than their match at WrestleMania. So
I think Bianca Belair was in the middle of a competition when she was during her time as Raw Women's Champion. She was in the middle of a fitness competition, so that woman's worked hard. So I really do think Bianca is probably going to take some time off after this. She might do a little segment this coming up SmackDown, but I think she might take some time off and get herself together and come back in a few months or weeks. You never know. As far as Asuka, a new champ helps usher in new feuds. So
supposedly.
I was supposedly. So I'm hoping for Asuka and myself. What I want to see Io versus Asuka.
Yeah, I
didn't answer your question, Smoke. That's what I was gonna say too. You asked me where do you see them going. I do see Bianca taking some time off, but I don't think she's going to let the way she lost in this title run. By the way, Bianca has some horrible title losses. The one to Asuka with that mist in her face, and then the Becky Lynch one at SummerSlam.
That was the worst one.
Yeah, there's some bad title losses.
Actually, you know what's funny? People were not, this is how you know the tides change depending on the situation. You know what's funny? People did not like that Becky Lynch return when she did that to Bianca Belair.
No, I hated that finish. It was terrible. I hated it.
People did not like that.
I don't mind her coming back, but I didn't like how she lost. And how many seconds was it? 13? I don't even remember.
People were like, a lot of people actually kind of booed that too.
They were shocked by it. They were shocked. It was more like, did that just happen kind of thing.
They did not like that at all. It wasn't any dig towards Becky, but Bianca was starting to rise as a star, and they kind of were liking that, and they were like, wait, she lost in like 13 seconds? That ain't shit. I do think Bianca might. I mean, do you see a rematch after this and she lose this following SmackDown?
I do see a rematch. I feel like we're going to be in the summer of rematches. I think this is how WWE is going to play it. And I think Io Sky, early favorite to win Money in the Bank. And I think we're going to see a Bianca Asuka rematch at Money in the Bank. Io Sky wins the briefcase, and we're going to go from there.
Okay. I'm not mad at it.
I can go with that. Even though there's a host of other. I mean, you got to granted the women's division hasn't been firing on all cylinders. It hasn't been the greatest. There's not that many. I mean, who are you going to put in the Money in the Bank? I mean, they're going to have Money Bank qualifiers. Lacey Evans, Shotzi, Xia Li, Sonya Deville, Chelsea. Anybody else? I mean, it's slim pickings when you're talking about title contenders. Bailey.
It's a bunch of who's in that list you gave me. Who?
I'm just saying, like, the women's division isn't as strong as it once was.
You can do something.
Who?
Exactly.
And a lot of, are they still there? Like,
Leah J could do something. She could come out you with Asuka.
Okay. All right. So the next match, speaking of the women's division.
Glad you're not booking it.
Yeah.
What about Raquel, man? What about Raquel?
She's in the tag team division. They keep throwing her in the tag team. She's forever in the tag team division, apparently.
She needs to step it up like Raquel. I mean, I'm sorry, like Bianca and Rhea.
Hey, Smoke, I know you're gonna like this. You know who the early favorite to win the Women's Royal Rumble is?
Wow, that is pretty early.
It's already out. Predictions.
Oh
wow,
Liv Morgan.
Get the fuck out of here, man!
I thought I'd throw that in there.
You know what? I can't even believe I'm about to say this. She actually,
no. You don't have to say it.
It's okay. You keep playing your game. You know what? You know what I'm gonna say? She's actually kind of grown on me a little bit.
Really, I was off the Liv Morgan train for a while.
So I'm not in the clip.
She's actually grown on me a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in a. I don't want to see her win the Royal Rumble. To be honest, I really don't.
Right.
I do want to see her build herself up and wear better gear and be a better wrestler in the ring and all
You
that
want a lot
stuff.
from her.
But I do. I want her to do her job and do great at it, and I want her to succeed at it. I want her to prove haters like me wrong.
Can you wish her well though? At least she's hurt right
I do
now.
wish her well. I wish her well. I listen. If I am nothing but a positive hater. I want you to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I like being proven wrong. It makes me excited because
Yeah.
I like when it's like, damn, I did not see that coming. I did not see this happening.
All right, so the next match, I know we touched on it earlier in the show, but we're going to touch on it a teensy bit more. We probably talked about it more than the actual match itself. So Rhea Ripley versus Natty, that went 90 seconds. Happy birthday, Natalia.
Did we talk about that? I thought we did that already.
We did, but I'm just going in the match order.
Oh,
I'm just going in the match order. All right, so Rhea Ripley.
Get out the way.
Yeah, so that match happened. It was a match. Didn't really think much of it. The match lasted as long as it should have. Natalia, happy birthday to you. You traveled to Saudi Arabia and you lost in 90 seconds. And that's really nothing more we could speak on it. And where do you guys see Rhea going from here? Because she has literally no challengers lined up for her.
Those main contenders, man. I want to see Indy Hartwell take on.
I was gonna say the only one, and if they're thinking about building future superstars, the only one who I can see, this is how they need to do it. Rhea has an open challenge. It's Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae comes out there, goes against her, gets squashed like a bug, 2 seconds. I mean, she's used to it. It's been happening the last few months. And then I would have Indy Hartwell come out to her rescue, and have Indy kind of go after Rhea Ripley, because think about it, for a while, I think it was like Indy Hartwell, Rhea Ripley, and Raquel kind of having their own little run-ins from time to time in NXT. Am I correct?
I believe so. I mean, to me, Indy versus Rhea, because Indy's Rhea can't muscle her around. No. Indy Hartwell's pretty tall, she's big, she's strong, and I think that would be actually a pretty good match.
But remember that's what I was saying during NXT when Indy did debut on NXT during the Black and Gold era. I remember I kept telling you I see where they're going with the next generation of women. They want the powerhouse. They want the powerhouses, and it's like everyone hired, like for every little girl, Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae, and I think Rhea was just by herself, but they all had to have a big muscle person beside them. They came and beat their muscle, but the muscle ended up kind of taking over and being in the spotlight. And so, like, I believe Indy is probably the best choice to go help build her up as a star. And that's the way to do it, because we ain't really got no many other options.
Moving on to the next match. One of my personal favorites of the night. Not really. We got Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes in a fight me match. By the way, why wasn't there any stipulation in this match? Why wasn't it a last man standing match? You could have made it a street fight. Why didn't they do anything like that? To me, it seems like when you say you want to fight somebody, all right, let's get the weapons, let's get the kendo sticks. It was just a regular fucking match. It wasn't anything special. All right, so Dean, I know you're a big Brock Lesnar guy. You're a big Cody Rhodes fan. You are marking out fucking hard right now. I mean, it's throbbing, right? It's throbbing hard. So what do you think about
throbbing hard?
Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, round 2, Saudi Arabia, Night of Champions. What do you think about this match?
I don't think much, man. I was confused that Brock Lesnar won. To be honest, in my prediction, I thought Cody Rhodes was going to win for the second time, right? And then that would lead into him trying to at least qualify for the Money in the Bank as a last hope. You know what I'm saying? To where he's like, you know what? I think I'm on my up and up. I know I lost, but I beat this beast Brock Lesnar twice in a row now. I'm gonna go into the Money in the Bank, and then maybe he would win. I don't know where the story was gonna go. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you think it went anywhere? This
So I didn't want to see another match between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. I didn't want to see it the first time, didn't want to see it the second time, and I do not want to see it the third time. I'm totally over Cody. I'm totally over Brock Lesnar at this point. I don't find him much to be entertaining. I don't find him much. His matches to me, it just seems like the same song and dance. But this match specifically, the finish is what bugged the crap out of me. So I asked on Twitter, I was like, when's the last time somebody passed out from an armbar? And I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find a match. Sometimes somebody passing out from an armbar. Now everybody's like, oh, it's technically a Kimura lock, right? I'm like, all right, does anybody pass out from the Kimura lock? Does anybody know off the top of your head? And then other people are like, well, you passed out from the pain of it because his arm was in so much pain that he passed out from the pain from being in the Kimura lock, right? Is that the logic between him being in excruciating pain and then passing out because he didn't tap out? Is that's the finish that we're going with here? And to me, when you book a finish like that, it doesn't necessarily, to me, show how tough you are. To me, the booking since WrestleMania, or that very moment since Cody was booked at WrestleMania, has been atrocious. It's been god awful. He's looked like a fucking geek this entire time. He doesn't make me want to cheer for him. If anything, it seems it's like having the reverse effect. People want to see Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of him, right? I feel like that's where we're going here. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes round 3 because this is what they've been giving us. I don't appreciate this feud at all. And I don't like where it's going. I wanted Cody Rhodes to win the title at WrestleMania. He didn't. This would have been a little more interesting if it was for the championship, and it's not. Granted, the finish was probably I picked Cody Rhodes to win this match, but the finish itself is setting up a third match, which I don't want to see. It should have been a last man standing match. That would have been more entertaining. You could have at least got a table spot, but they're playing it up. And first of all, Cole went on this rant about the actual cast on him more than the reason why we still don't know why Brock Lesnar actually attacked Cody Rhodes. He went into fucking detail about the titanium plates and all this other shit that we don't care about. And then, by the way, why wasn't Cody Rhodes disqualified? He used it as a weapon.
His titanium plates.
Yeah, he used the titanium plates in the cast and hit Brock Lesnar over the head with it. Why isn't that a DQ?
Maybe it's a gray area, right?
Did they agree to that beforehand? Be like, you can use the cast as a weapon, and everybody was like, sure. If they agreed to it beforehand, why wasn't Brock Lesnar like, no, I don't agree to that? But to me, that's weird. A weapon. It's like, what's that difference in a steel chair? Because it's on him. Yeah. They don't disqualify guys for using a belt, right? When you're whipping with somebody with a belt, because it's maybe part of your wardrobe. I don't really understand the logic behind that. The one time Undertaker was using a cast on Brock Lesnar, that was in a Hell in a Cell match, so anything goes. But I don't know if you can use a cast legally in the match. To me, that's not logically, doesn't make any sense. So the match itself, from start to finish, didn't make sense at all because he should have been disqualified. Then him passing out from the pain, I'm just not buying into that. And with the broken arm, you think if he really had a broken arm, he'd be medically cleared? And they're trying to give us these medical reasons why he was actually technically cleared. I don't buy into that either. I don't know. The whole premise is just reeks of, I know Smoke, you'll like this, reeks of Vince McMahon. That's a Vince McMahon booking for sure. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's a Vince McMahon booking.
Go one show without saying that man's name, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Vince McMahon booking 100%. Because he is booking Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That's a fact. That's not disputed.
Well, I wasn't really into this one because I'm like you said, I'm over it. I don't really care at this point. We can go on to the next match.
How about this? You don't think this is Cody's adversity to get back to the title picture?
I mean, it is, but I feel like it can be. Excuse me. I feel like it can be somebody else.
So going through Brock Lesnar's not good enough?
It is, but it's like it's old. Like I just don't want to see it no more.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're a bigger fan of Cody Rhodes now, or maybe your feelings haven't changed before WrestleMania or now? What do you think? More of them, or you think less of them? Going through this feud specifically with Brock Lesnar.
I would say I think less of them.
But do you think more of him?
I think the hype is kind of dwindling.
The flame is going down a little bit, but it's still lit.
It's still lit.
not lit in a sense of new terms, you know.
Shut up.
Okay.
But flame is still there. It's just not. It's not as bright, you know.
Okay.
So
All right.
you know, maybe the wind will change. You know, things will shift and it'll get brighter.
Wasn't this whole idea of putting Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar together to have a sympathetic baby face that goes through adversity to come out better at the end? But you think it's having the reverse effect?
Yeah, yeah. I think they had this grand idea to make it something that we didn't really care for. You know, I don't know. I know some people feel different about Cody Rhodes, as we've learned. But I don't know, man. I don't. You see the callback I made? You see the nice callback with the other interview? That was pretty good.
That's good. I appreciate that, man.
No problem. I listen. I'm a fan.
Okay, cool. Love it.
But yeah, man. I don't know. I'm ready to see this end, and the fact that it's 1-1, I'm dreading that we're gonna see the third match.
Yeah, it's inevitable. It's gonna happen 100%. 100%. Money in the Bank. Okay, so if they're gonna have a third match, Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank, how does Cody Rhodes get in the Money in the Bank to get back to Roman? Because isn't that what we said after WrestleMania? It's gonna be Cody and Roman at SummerSlam, but how does Cody hit? No one pun intended, Dean. I know you like this. What is his roads back to Roman? Where are they going to go? Where are they headed here?
You could also say, you know, the roads are a little bit, they're not clean, they're not paved, they're a little dusty. They're you see that? Cordell loved it.
All right, so what we're going to move on to is the main event of Night of Champions. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE champions. Now, are we sick and tired of the Bloodline story? Dean, what do you think about this? Since after WrestleMania, are we at Bloodline fatigue? Are we tired of this? Or did it kind of what happened tonight kind of rejuvenate your interest of the Bloodline saga?
Yeah, man, it was much needed. I think they really they needed to have a shift. They needed to have some sort of change, kind of like they did with Sammy, like with Jay back in the day. They needed something to happen because shit was getting real boring, man. It was getting bland, it was getting redundant, and I don't know where this is gonna go. I don't know if Jay is gonna. It looks like Jay's sticking with his brother, man. It looks like he's sticking with Jimmy on this one. But you can tell, which is surprising, Jay is the one who's hesitant.
Yeah.
Jimmy's the one who fucking just went for
it. I was confused by this part of the storytelling.
I like the switch.
Jay was trying so hard to like be the rebel in this group. And then today he was being kind of ass kissy, like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not, we're trying to get back in good graces. Yeah. And Jimmy was like, fuck that. You know, I'm actually proud of Jimmy. I'm proud of Jimmy.
Jimmy, honestly, he showed
Jimmy
that
actually did something.
He did something. He just wasn't a background character. And leading up to that point, did you guys feel that Roman Reigns and Solo were actually going to win the titles? Or did you think this was going to be, or we were going to have 4 belts Roman here? Or where you guys leaning?
I thought they were going to try to pull some shit out their ass and have Roman be a tag team champ too. And I was like, man, what? And I know, and how WrestleMania went, you can't be shocked by much no more.
Yeah.
You cannot be shocked by much. So like I had this little, no, I had that much. Less. Yeah. Yeah. But I am so, I would say I'm shocked that I'm shocked it was Jimmy who did it. And Jimmy won't backing down. Jimmy did 2 big kicks to the face.
That's the thing though, too. Yeah, let's talk about that too, because it's one thing to kick him once, right? And you're like, and then you might have instant regret. Like if you're gonna turn on the tribal chief, but then he loaded up again, and then he super kicked him out the ring. And Roman, he sold it beautifully. Like that was the most devastating super kick of all time.
He told Jay, I don't give a fuck no more.
Yeah, he was like, it's just me and you, bro. It's me and you, brother.
In my language, he was like, I don't give a fuck no more. I'm tired of this motherfucker.
The surprising part in all this was Jay's reaction, because the whole time, this last 2.5 years, or whatever it's been,
The
you're like,
outside.
Jay was gonna finally pull the trigger on Roman, but then Jimmy, honestly, Jimmy showed like he got some fucking balls on him. Maybe we're gonna get the explanation why he did what he did on SmackDown, or yeah, SmackDown, right? We're gonna get the
Yeah.
explanation on SmackDown because maybe Jimmy felt he was humiliated by Roman, and
I
he
think
don't
that's
like
where
getting
it's
shoved
gonna go.
around as much as we think he does, because sometimes he's just like, yeah, this is Roman being Roman. Everything's gonna be cool. Oos. We'll be all
Jimmy,
right. We'll be all right.
Jimmy,
He's more nonchalant. Jay's the one that seems intense and on edge all the fucking time. And then
Jimmy,
Jimmy's the
Jimmy
one that pulled the
shows.
trigger and then put him out of his misery. It wasn't one gunshot, it was two gunshots that he put Roman down with. So
Jimmy,
that's a huge
Jimmy
fucking
sometimes,
deal. And then
Jimmy sometimes
Solo,
seems like he's the brute of the group.
yeah, and then Solo, that it's funny too because after they accidentally kicked Solo, you're thinking, oh shit, it's about to go down here. I didn't see the kick from Jimmy coming. That's the last guy I was thinking that actually would do anything about it. I thought it might have been Jay, and then obviously it was a whole. By the way, how many ref bumps are in Roman Reigns match? Can we get the ratio on that? It seems like every Roman's Reigns match there's a ref bump and there's a shit ton of interference.
Every single match.
I think
like
28 title defenses, there might be 28 ref bumps
it's become
in
part of
1,000 days.
it's become part of his matches now. A ref gonna get hurt.
Yeah. So you think Jimmy elevated his stock when it comes
Oh,
to?
yeah. I mean, yeah, bro. When you got your twin brother and your younger brother doing the most, and Solo don't even talk. That shows that, and they like Solo more. It's kind of like, damn, Jimmy, what was you doing? But tonight, Jimmy definitely. I feel like Jimmy got his head in the game a little bit. High School Musical reference. No, I'm just playing.
Wow. Wow. You went there.
Yeah, you don't get it, Neal.
No, I don't exactly. But go ahead, man. I
I'm
wrote it. I
I'm
wrote
glad
it.
you don't either, man.
It makes me feel better that you didn't.
It makes me feel better that you don't either, man. I'm mad I said it now.
Zach Efron would love that one.
I gotta get your head in the, never mind. Yeah, you see, he's singing the song.
I know what it is. I mean, I grew up with it.
Yeah, anyways. Yeah, Jimmy finally stepped it up, and now hopefully we got Solo. Now we gotta figure out what to do with Solo. Because Solo is either going to keep riding with Roman, or he's going to just join up with his brothers, or just do his own thing. Roman's downfall is slowly, even though he retained at Mania, he's lost. He's losing.
It's inevitable too, because you got to think he's not going to keep that undisputed title with him for long because he's losing all his helpers.
You can't even call he can't actor tonight. Really, you can't really call yourself the Bloodline no more either.
Is it just you think they'll make amends and get back together? Or you think this is it? They're done for. Was this the hard split that we're finally looking for? That Sami Zayn's been telling us the whole time. There's cracks in the bloodline. Is this the fucking crater that totally broke it?
My thing is this: if they're gonna make them get back together, then they must have one hell of a storyline planned for us in the upcoming months. But if not, they need to go ahead and tell the story and end this chapter. And I feel like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like WWE is, with WWE, you have usually like a big storyline with usually a big faction or something like that.
You need it. You need it in professional wrestling. You have to have a faction, a dominant faction.
And then after a while, you have like a big storyline that goes on for either a year or a couple months or something like that. And then after that, you kind of get stuck with, well, man, like, now we don't have, I mean, you have storylines, clearly you have feuds like any other time, but you don't have that big group that has the whole company by their neck.
And the best times with professional wrestling, you have Four Horsemen, you have DX, NWO, Evolution, the Bloodline. Some of the best times in wrestling are heavy group related.
And so what I think WWE is, I think what they're afraid of is after this is done, they're going to go into another 2-year, 3-year, 5-year gap of, oh my gosh, we don't have that big thing. I think that's why they've slowly been trying to get Judgment Day up there too.
Yeah.
in my opinion, because if you think about it, we wanted Judgment Day. We all said Judgment Day wasn't going to work, and
It
I
was a
feel like
joke in the beginning. They
and I
weren't
feel
to be taken seriously.
I feel like they slowly, and I mean slowly, I feel like they've slowly been trying to creep up on us and actually be worth some talking about. Like honestly, I really don't.
Well, they dominate Monday Night Raw. They're the number one faction on Monday Night Raw.
Well, my thing is this. I actually kind of sometimes now I find myself forgetting that Edge was their creator.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's been such a long time. It's been what, a year now? Over
Yeah,
a year.
I find myself forgetting that Edge was their creator now. And I know what y'all saying, like how when they feuded like for fucking ever. But it's like now they Rhea being champ and stuff like that. I think another person needs to be in it. Honestly, they need to have two more people getting into the title picture to solidify that group. But I will say this: it seems like to me, as the bloodline has been kind of thinning out, I feel like the Judgment Day stock has kind of started to rise.
Yeah. Any
Because
final thoughts on the bloodline, Sammy and KO? Are you guys are happy they retained then? You don't want to see 4 belts, Roman Reigns, right? No.
no, and I'm tired of Sammy being I'm tired of Sammy and the bloodline ties all together right now. I'm over it.
KO sick of it. He's been saying it for weeks. He's like, I'm tired of fucking fighting you guys already. I'm done with it.
The story's done. They had their Mania moment. It's done. Let it go. Sammy cannot. Okay, so for all you Sami Zayn fans, you guys can't keep. He has to keep this momentum going, but it's got to be without the bloodline. It got to be without the bloodline. He can't ride them coattails.
His stock's fallen a little bit.
He can't ride them coattails no more. It was
again,
cute.
you can't go like Austin Theory and John Cena. Sami Zayn and KO cannot go against the bloodline every single week.
We need something new. Sammy gonna have to keep it up himself. He gonna have to go against somebody else and keep up his stock. But the bloodline, his time riding the bloodline's coattails and their storyline, it's a wrap.
I'm happy to see Roman fucking lose and not ending celebrating with the fucking belts at the end. I was already mentally preparing myself for Roman holding up all 4 championships. I was like, they're fucking gonna do it, and they're just gonna kill the entire summer, man. I got an idea. How about this, Smoke? I know we're talking about Bloodline, Sammy and KO, but you mentioned Judgment Day, and I want to touch on them a little bit too. You said you need a couple of those guys need to be inserted in the title picture, right? What about this? You want to gain a lot of heat, a lot of fucking heat that people would absolutely hate. You have Dominic Mysterio win Money in the Bank.
Woo!
And then you have him challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I know it seems far-fetched, right? You're like, Dominic.
Jumping on mommy's back afterwards.
You think of Dominic, there's no chance in hell he could win. Oh, yes, he can with their help. Hell, fuck yeah, he can.
Honestly, to be honest with you.
What about that?
I think that's genius because I think why not have the most hated, talked about character who's becoming slowly his fan base has risen because he's so hated. He's loved to be hated. Why not have him win?
I see you smirking over there, Dean. You like that one or what?
You know what? Well, I was thinking, picture Judgment Day without Dominic. I feel like they would have faded out. Oddly enough, I think he's the glue.
I don't know, man. It is
ironically, right?
I like to say that Rhea is the glue to it as well, but it's Dominic.
In actual competitor terms,
it's Dominic though.
But Dominic, man, he's entertaining as fuck. I actually when I'm watching the show, like say I'm walking around the house or something, I'll stop and I'll watch because it's funny as hell. But him winning,
I don't think people.
I don't know, man. Maybe
I don't think people watch for Damian Priest.
Like I wish Austin Theory was still on the same brand because I want to see Dominic as US champ. I feel like that'd be just another reason to get booed, and I feel like that'd be funny as hell. You know?
Yeah, because obviously he can't go against Gunther, but we don't want to have, because Austin Theory, remember last year when he won Money in the Bank, we were like, there's no chance in hell he's going to defeat Roman Reigns. And he even admitted that too. He's like, I got to go after a different belt because Roman's invincible. Now, I don't think you want to do that back-to-back years, but now being that Seth Rollins is the champ, it's more plausible that Dominic going versus Seth on paper, one-on-one, Seth Rollins would beat him 10 out of 10 times. But not when you have Mommy, not when you have Priest, and not when you have Finn Balor helping him out through the interference. That seems like a typical WWE kind of move to me.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be entertaining as fuck? Yes, but I want my boy LA Knight to win Money in the Bank. But we're gonna talk about that. Talk about that later.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my opinion on that. I think Judgment Day is as the
Just
Bloodline
imagine Dominic coming out to that with that briefcase every single week. You know how much heat he would get for that shit? He wouldn't be able to talk.
Yeah.
And then how about this? He could decorate it up. How about like pictures of himself and then Rhea on it? Like, how about like pictures of them like having photo? He could put pictures on it, like a travel briefcase of all the places that they've been with pictures and like a collage on it. You don't think that would piss a lot of people off? That's what I would do. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Do something like that. All right. So what do you guys think? Night of Champ
opens it up and it's his different headbands. His little
oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
All right. So final thoughts. WWE Night of Champions, Saudi Arabia in the books. Where do you guys rate this one? A lot of people. We're not a lot of people. We're 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s. I even saw some 10 out of 10s. God bless their hearts. They love the show, and that's what really matters when you're watching wrestling or sports entertainment. Smoke, I'll start with you. Where do you give this PLE and Saudi Arabia overall? Where do you grade it?
I give it a 6.5.
A 6.5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to explain the reason why you give it 6.5?
It wasn't that great to me, but Jimmy super kicking Roman is the 6.5 I needed.
Okay.
Yeah. I would put it as a 7 had some of the matches been a little bit better, but it's a 6.5.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Dean, what do you say?
I was actually going to agree until the main event. Same reason with Jimmy. I feel like it's a good little twist and a good addition that we needed. So I'm gonna have to say 7.2.
You just can't agree with me, can you?
I tweeted out. I'm gonna go 7 out of 10. Just because three of the 7 matches were duds to me. Didn't like Rhea and Natty. I didn't like Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. And I didn't really care for Gunther and Ali all that much. I didn't really get much out of that. But the first match was really good. I did enjoy. I would probably say the first match, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, was my favorite of the night, and I said that too. It was gonna be match of the night, and I think it was. It's kind of set the tone. You want to put Seth Rollins on first all the time, and AJ Styles is always a good bet. The ending, the Jimmy, the super kick, I didn't see coming. And as watching wrestling, doing wrestling podcasts, I want to be surprised sometimes. And I was actually surprised by that. I didn't see it. I wanted Jay to do it. Jimmy pulled the trigger. I always usually start the rating. Every pay-per-view starts a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect pay-per-view until it happens. And then you slowly subtract. Like, I didn't like this, and you get to a specific number. That's how I do it.
Needed to do Money in the Bank. Do you know the date for that off the top of your head? Or do
I don't know. I don't know the Money in the Bank date, but
check it out.
They're gonna start having qualifying matches, and I think it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna talk about that ad nauseum. Who should win? Who should qualify? Who should be in the match?
Got July 1st.
It's gonna be in London. It's gonna be in London.
Yeah.
So 3 consecutive PLEs. Puerto Rico, Saudi Arabia, London.
But you can't before we go, you can't forget it. We do have LA Knight, sure. The Dominic one's funny, but Montez Ford, man, we can't forget about that guy. We were riding him. Remember that? We said we need him to
Montez Ford. It's funny you mentioned this too, because guess what they did? They put Montez and LA Knight in a qualifying match.
No way. Come on, man.
Oh man, they knocking it.
Because those two on the left.
And I'm thinking that is why would you need to have them in the match?
You need first seed, eighth seed. You can't have first and first. That makes no sense.
Why would it feels like LA Knight's the heavy favorite to qualify over Montez, but why would you take Montez, who's one of the most athletically gifted guys on the roster, out of a ladder match?
And a rising star.
And a rising star to boot. Like, why would you do something like that? You can don't put LA Knight versus Boogs or fucking Montez versus Elias in a qualifying match and get them in there, man. Like, to me, that's terrible because you got 2 fan favorites. People want to see Montez get solo push, and then you want to see LA Knight get solo push. Now, if Montez loses, it won't sting as bad as LA Knight losing. But when I first saw that the qualifying match, I was like, nah, you don't do that. You want to put your best guys in there, not in a qualifying. That's going to be the show. Night of Champions in the books. We're going to wrap this episode up. I am Neal Pretty Boy Thomas.
I'm your boy Cordell, aka Smoke.
Of course, Dean Walker at 99 Dean Walker. Find me anywhere.
All right, cool. We're gonna call it a night. It's getting late. We're tired. We got shit ton of wrestling tomorrow too as well. All right, that's it. That's the video. We're out. Bye-bye.